was a precocious child. I had opinions on how to fix everything. Some people called me smartass. I talked too much, I questioned my teachers, and I stood up for those who couldn't do this for themselves. I spent most of my years in the back corners of my classrooms. My report cards all said I had some kind of social problem. But one teacher wrote, "Doesn't she love everyone?" But I didn't see her note until I was handed my childhood in a box of papers after my mother died. I didn't think I was a smartass. My intention was always to help. They just didn't get me. Sometimes my good grades earned me the right to be outspoken, but not so much in high school where I didn't fit in, and I landed my smartass in jail when I was 19. Of course, I wasn't there for being a smartass. I had fallen down this rabbit hole of drug abuse, and I couldn't climb out. So there I lay on this hard cot, staring at ugly green walls and trying to drown out the voices of these women I only knew as cellmates. But as soon as I started feeling a little safe, the old me came back. I had opinions on how to fix things, I questioned the guards, and I stood up for those who couldn't do it for themselves. This earned me respect, a few trips to solitary, and the attention of Big Mama Queen Vicky. She liked me. Eventually, we became cellmates. One hot Sunday, we had learned that the Vice had made a big raid. We would be overcrowded with prostitutes and have to go on lockup. Now, this was jail, not prison. We were 12 tiny cells with one day room where we could stretch our legs and shower, surrounded by a hallway called the catwalk, where they observed us through the bars, like in a zoo. Lockup meant that we would be stuck in these tiny cells for the third time that month, and we had learned that they had just emptied a larger cell block across the way. So, of course, I had a plan. I said to Vicky, "Let's hold a nonviolent protest." She liked it. So she called out the idea into the catwalk, and everyone agreed. So I detailed the plan, checked in with each cell to see if they understood, and then we waited. Each cough and bed squeak echoed like the sounds in a music hall before the orchestra's first note. When I heard the key in the catwalk door, I yelled, "Make some noise!" And we all started pounding on our bunks, and the guard came in and said, "What's going on?" And we got louder, and the lieutenant came in and said, "Stop this now!" And we all yelled, "Captain, Captain!" And then the captain appeared. "Now, girls, you better stop this now, or you're going to get in a heap of trouble." Like we were scared of trouble. So I said, "Why are we on lockup? Why can't you use the empty cells across the way?" "You're out of line. Full restriction for a week. Straighten up or I'll make it a month." So Vicky said, "Garbage," and we threw our garbage into the catwalk, and I said, "Dresses," and we ripped off our dresses, and just then 5 male guards rushed in, grabbed Vicky and me, dragged us down to isolation, and slammed the door. There I was, on the cold cement floor, my underwear torn. I looked at Vicky and I said, "I am so sorry. I'm sorry I dragged you into this. I'm so stupid. Nothing I do works out. I'm one big dumb failure." She pushed herself up. She pinned me against the wall and said, "Failure, you should be proud. Girl, you have no idea who you are. You are smart, you're strong, and you care about people. When you get that in here, you can do anything out there." A month later, my time was up. I looked at Vicki, wondering if I'd ever see her again. She said, "No one here wants to see you again." They want you to go out there and make it. Be the one. 3 years later, I graduated from Arizona State University, summa cum laude. I had been working on a video communication system between girls in jail and high school girls, hoping to impact the at-risk girls. I took my work to graduate school. I got this close to funding. It didn't happen, but I kept on, found new projects, earned a second master's degree, and when I felt ready, I proposed a few ideas to the Arizona Department of Corrections. I got a phone call 3 days later. "We think you should go on with your life and quit feeling guilty." Again, they didn't get me. I said, "Fine, I'll go on with my life. I'll be successful. Maybe you'll listen." And then I promised myself, I'll be back. For the next 15 years, I worked for 3 companies, a small, loud woman with only men at the top. I earned promotions, but in each one, I hit a ceiling. They said it was the way I showed up. They mistook my passion for stubbornness, my directness for being insensitive. And my best ideas got, "Not now." So when I earned enough experience, enough money, and enough of being shut down, I started my own business and I built a global leadership development firm. But there was still something missing. So I decided to get another degree. I was desperate to discover what to do my doctoral research on when I heard this man talking. He was saying it's our own fault there's not more women leaders. He was saying women always choose family and life balance over hard work, and we don't have the courage to speak up. This was only about 10 years ago. Who was he talking about? Not me. Not the women I work with. Not the super high achiever who'd been bypassed for a promotion again, and her boss said to me, "Can't you just make her happy where she's at?" Or the woman who was so excited about finding a solution to this ongoing problem, and her boss says, "Calm down, have a piece of candy." For 20 years, I had been working with women who loved their families and their work. They put themselves on the front line, convincing, persuading, debating, and braving the way. They're often labeled rebellious and competitive, but they don't see themselves that way. They see their obsessiveness as a passion for the cause, whatever that might be. And if they can't make a difference in one place, they move on to the next company, department, or sometimes they realize they can make a bigger impact being their own boss. But too often they're pigeonholed, they're underutilized, micromanaged, and told to slow down. Their excitement turns to burnout and then to cynicism. As the disappointments add up, they lose their sense of purpose and sometimes their sense of self. So I decided that I was going to define who these women are and what inner and outer demons they face in the workplace. And you know what I found? These women have opinions on how to fix everything. They're often called smartass, bitch. They talk too much, they question authority, and they stand up for those who can't do it for themselves. In some people, they call this leadership. But the paradox is they accomplish many great things, But it's never enough. I found in my research that they have this restlessness. One woman called it a soulful agitation that keeps them aching for what's missing. And if this stirring keeps them in motion, if they can't move geographically, they take on projects at home and at work, including volunteer commitments. They don't do this for titles and money. They're driven by needs for motion and meaning. My research was turned into a book, and I called it Wander Woman. But the big dilemma is we teach girls to speak up. We give them role models, superheroes, celebrities, and stories of young women coming into their power. But then they grow up and we tell them to sit down and shut up. Women are still interrupted and ignored more often than men. One woman told me that she was an executive and she was explaining to the CEO there was a dire situation that needed to be addressed. He put his hand in her face. That was the day she decided to leave. Another woman who was the head of employee development of this company that had been hugely successful with their IPO was telling the executives that there's a morale issue that needs to be addressed around all the big changes, and the CEO called her names I can't repeat here and said, "And don't you cry." That was the day I wrote my resignation letter. We used the word precocious to characterize annoying children, but then we put this judgment on women, treating them as unruly children, all the way into their nursing homes. They earn their MBAs, their MSEs, their MDs, and they're told to slow down, wait your turn, and be nicer to your admin. This isn't just men that do this. Women do it to women too. And there's lots of men that cheer us on. It's just that the doors close more than we're invited in. This isn't just unfair to the women, it's unfair to society. Recently, a Washington think tank found that they analyzed 22,000 companies in 91 countries and found a positive correlation between women leaders and firm profitability. More women, more money. It's a simple formula. And the U.S. is not number one in innovation. What if we were to fully use the brains and business savvy of these women? Couldn't we accomplish more together? So here's my advice for how to handle precocious women. See them not as smart asses, but as smart asses. Listen to them. Recognize what they bring to the table, whether you like their style or not. And here's my advice to the precocious women. When the doors close, find another door. And when they call you names, ignore them and use your courage and your gifts to go out there and make a difference anyway. Thank you.